The morning sun paints the sky in shades of orange and pink, casting a warm golden glow across the water. Aerial view of the vast Mekong Delta at sunrise with pink and orange sky reflecting on the river surface. I'm standing on the bow of a long, narrow sampan boat, the kind that has navigated these waterways for generations. Point of view from wooden bow of traditional sampan moving through narrow canal. The air is thick with the sweet smell of blooming water hyacinths and the earthy scent of wet soil. Close-up of purple water hyacinths floating on canal surface. All around me, the world is alive. The gentle lapping of the water against the wooden hull is a constant rhythm, a heartbeat for this incredible place. This is the Mekong Delta, known in Vietnam as Cuu Long, the River of Nine Dragons. It's a vast, sprawling maze of rivers, canals, streams, narrow man-made canal with sampan boats and houses on stilts lining the banks. A place where water is not just a resource, but the very essence of life itself. As we glide deeper into the network of channels, the sounds of the delta begin to build into a symphony. The distant chug of another boat's motor, the cheerful chatter of people starting their day, and the chorus of unseen birds calling from the dense mangrove forests that line the banks. Children wave from stilt houses perched precariously over the water's edge, their laughter echoing across the river. This isn't just a landscape, it's a living, breathing community. Every twist and turn of the river reveals another story, another family. Multi-generation family on riverside home preparing nets and tools. Another life intricately woven into the fabric of this aquatic world. It's a place that immediately captures your heart with its raw, untamed beauty and the resilience of its people. My guide, a man named Tuan whose family has lived here for 5 generations, points towards a cluster of coconut palms. They call this place the Rice Bowl of Vietnam, and it's a title that is well and truly earned. As our boat moves from the main river into smaller agricultural canals, the landscape transforms. On either side, endless fields of vibrant green rice paddies stretch to the horizon, shimmering under the tropical sun. These fields are the lifeblood of the nation. They produce more than half of all the rice consumed in Vietnam, and a huge portion of its agricultural exports. The work is hard and relentless, often done by hand under the blazing sun. Farmers, wearing traditional conical hats to shield themselves from the heat, wade through the knee-deep water, tending to the young rice shoots with a practiced, gentle touch. The entire rhythm of life here revolves around the rice-growing seasons. There are typically 2 or 3 harvests a year, dictated by the flow of the river and the seasonal rains. The planting season is a time of hope and hard labor, as families work together to prepare the fields and sow the seeds. The growing season is a period of watchful waiting, of nurturing the crop and praying for the right amount of water. Not too much, not too little. And the harvest is a time of celebration, of community, and of relief. The golden stalks of rice are cut, threshed, and dried, a tangible reward for months of dedication. This cycle is more than just farming. It's a cultural tradition passed down through countless generations. But it's not just rice. The rich alluvial soil of the delta is a farmer's dream, capable of growing an incredible diversity of crops. As we drift along, we pass orchards heavy with fruit, mangoes, rambutans, dragon fruit, jackfruit. Tuan plucks a ripe mango from an overhanging branch and hands it to me. The taste is unbelievably sweet and juicy. It's a perfect self-sustaining system, a beautiful example of how people can work in harmony with the natural world to create abundance. Long before the sun fully rises, the rivers of the Mekong Delta are already bustling with activity. Early morning boat traffic heading to floating market. This is when the famous floating markets come to life. Imagine hundreds of wooden boats, big and small, congregating at a wide junction of the river. Each boat is a floating stall piled high with goods. Pineapples, watermelons, mangoes, mixed vegetables, leafy greens, bright red chilies. To know what a boat is selling, you just have to look up. The vendor hoists a long bamboo pole from their boat. A pineapple, a cabbage, a bunch of bananas, a simple and brilliant form of advertising. The air buzzes with energy. It's a chaotic yet perfectly orchestrated dance of commerce and community. Smaller boats like floating cafes zip between the larger vessels, selling hot bowls of noodle soup, strong Vietnamese coffee, and refreshing sugarcane juice to hungry merchants and shoppers. The sound is a wonderful mix of vendors calling out their prices, the friendly haggling of buyers, and the constant hum of boat engines. This isn't a tourist attraction, it's the real functioning heart of the local economy. Beyond the markets, fishing is another pillar of life in the Delta. For countless families, the river is their farm, and its fish are their crop. We pass fishermen casting their nets with a graceful circular motion, a skill honed over a lifetime. While the Mekong Delta is famous for its human culture, it's also an absolute paradise for wildlife. This is a biodiversity hotspot, a place where the unique combination of freshwater, saltwater, forests, wetlands, has created a home for an astonishing array of creatures. As we venture into the quieter, more remote parts of the delta, the human sounds fade away, replaced by the calls of the wild. We enter a mangrove forest, a tangled, otherworldly labyrinth of roots and branches. These forests are critically important. They act as a natural barrier, protecting the coastline from erosion and storm surges. Their complex root systems serve as a nursery for countless species of fish, crustaceans. Look closely and you'll see life everywhere. Mud skippers, amphibious fish that can breathe through their skin, flop across the muddy banks. Colorful crabs scuttle in and out of their burrows. Above, the canopy is alive with birds. The Mekong Delta is a crucial stopover point for migratory birds on the East Asian-Australasian flyway. It's also home to many rare and endangered resident species. With my binoculars, I spot a majestic white-bellied sea eagle soaring high above. In the lower branches, a flash of brilliant blue reveals a white-throated kingfisher, patiently waiting to dive for its next meal. The air is filled with their songs, a constant reminder of the incredible richness of this ecosystem. The greatest threat to the Mekong Delta is invisible, silent, and relentless. It's not something you can easily see, but the farmers here feel its effects every single day. I'm talking about saltwater intrusion. As sea levels rise due to global climate change, the ocean is pushing further and further inland. The salty water creeps up the rivers and canals, seeping into the soil, contaminating the fresh water the delta depends on. For a region built on freshwater agriculture, this is a slow-motion disaster. The very foundation of the rice bowl is being poisoned from within. It's happening faster than anyone predicted. Tuan takes me to a field that was once a thriving rice paddy. Now it's a barren, cracked wasteland. The soil is crusted with a thin layer of white salt.
A few years ago, during an unusually long dry season, the saltwater reached this far inland for the first time.
The rice crop failed completely. The salt burns the roots of the rice plants, killing them and rendering the soil infertile for years. A series of large hydroelectric dams on the upper Mekong River, hundreds of miles away in other countries, are trapping fresh water flow. These dams hold back water and the vital sediment that replenishes the delta and keeps it above sea level. During the dry season, when the delta needs fresh water most to push back the sea, the river's flow is significantly reduced. This creates a perfect storm. Less fresh water coming downriver, more aggressive saltwater pushing up. The very character of the River of Nine Dragons is being altered, one salty tide at a time. The Mekong Delta is fighting a war on two fronts. While the sea is rising, the land itself is sinking. This phenomenon is called subsidence, like having the floor drop out from under you. The delta is a massive pile of river sediment built up over thousands of years. For centuries, annual floods deposited fresh sediment, replenishing the land. Now, upstream dams trap over 90% of that sediment, starving the delta. It's like trying to build a sandcastle while someone steals your sand. Human activity has massively accelerated the problem here in the delta. To meet growing demand, there's been an explosion of groundwater extraction. Millions of wells pump fresh water from underground aquifers, for drinking, for industry, for agriculture, especially during harsher dry seasons. It's like sucking the air out of a giant inflatable mattress. As water is removed, sand and clay layers compact and the ground drops. In some places, the land sinks by several centimeters every year. Combine sinking land with rising seas. The consequences are devastating. Flood risk rises dramatically. Areas that flooded only in storms are now inundated at normal high tides. Coastal erosion accelerates. We visited a coastal community where homes once 100 yards from the water now crumble into the waves. Families are forced to retreat further inland, becoming climate refugees in their own country. The delta is struggling to keep its head above water, and right now, it's losing. The environmental changes sweeping across the Mekong Delta are not just statistics. They have a real heartbreaking human cost. Here, an elderly woman watches the river, worry etched on her face. The decline in fish stocks is a perfect example. We sit with a family of fishermen in their simple stilt house overlooking the river.
When I was a boy, A few hours of fishing would feed my family and leave some to sell.
There used to be packed fish markets overflowing with catch. Now his sons spend all day on the river. They often come back with a catch barely enough for one meal. The river that sustained them for generations is becoming barren. Dried riverbeds, dead fish, and saline-cracked banks tell the story. This economic pressure is tearing families and communities apart. Fallow rice fields and idle fishing boats show a fading future for youth. Many are forced to leave their homes, packing what they can. They migrate to sprawling urban centers like Ho Chi Minh City in search of work. Ho Chi Minh City's skyline offers a stark contrast to the Delta. They find work in factories, long hours, uncertain futures, or on construction sites building the cities they left their homes for. This leads to a brain drain as the youngest leave the Delta. The Delta is left with an aging population struggling to cope. Even cultural events like boat festivals are abandoned. Health impacts are severe, rural clinics are overwhelmed. Floods are increasing, swallowing houses and livelihoods. Water contamination further endangers communities. Waterborne diseases are on the rise among children and families. The human cost is immeasurable. Just when the situation seems overwhelming, you encounter the incredible resilience and ingenuity of the Vietnamese people. They are not passive victims, they are fighters. He works the muddy field with a determined face. Local innovators are experimenting with new techniques and tools. They are survivors, holding on and rebuilding after floods. All across the Delta, local communities and scientists are working together to adapt. Instead of fighting a losing battle against the saltwater, some farmers are learning to work with it, adapting their fields and ponds. They are transitioning away from rice in some areas, to shrimp farming. Shrimp thrive in brackish water that kills rice, offering a more profitable livelihood. It's a brilliant example of turning a threat into an opportunity. Other farmers are adopting clever integrated models that mix aquaculture and orchards. They build raised mounds in their fields to protect crops. On those mounds they plant fruit trees safe from salty water. In the lower, brackish areas they raise shrimp. They also cultivate fish in dedicated ponds to diversify income. This diversification makes them more resilient. If one part fails, another can provide income. Families balance earnings from different sources to secure their livelihoods. We visited a farm, a tapestry of green orchards and shimmering shrimp ponds. There are also large-scale efforts to restore the Delta's natural defenses. All along the coast, communities run massive mangrove reforestation projects. Students join in, planting trees as part of school programs. Volunteers from towns and NGOs come together to help restore the coast, hands planting the saplings by hand, one root at a time. These forests will stabilize the coastline and reduce erosion. They also provide habitat for fish and wildlife, a living shield against the sea. My journey through the Mekong Delta has been an emotional roller coaster. I've been mesmerized by its beauty. Lush Mekong Delta landscape aerial with close-up mangrove canopy. I've been inspired by its people. I'm deeply concerned for its future. This is a place of critical importance, not just for Vietnam, but for the entire world. A global food basket, a treasure trove of biodiversity, a home to nearly 20 million people. Its fate is a bellwether for coastal regions facing climate impacts. What happens here is a stark warning. It can also be a lesson in hope and resilience. The future of the Delta is not yet written. The challenges are immense. They cannot be solved by the people of the Delta alone. This is a global problem that requires global cooperation. International delegation meeting at UN Environment Conference. Countries in the upper Mekong must consider downstream impacts of dam projects, work toward more equitable river management, map showing river flow agreements with officials signing documents. Developed nations have a moral responsibility to support adaptation and mitigation. Funding and technology can help vulnerable regions. We are all connected by the planet's water systems. We all have a role to play in protecting them, diverse hands holding water with volunteers planting trees. But hope is most powerful when it is local. The true heroes are the farmers. Fishermen, scientists, community leaders, they refuse to give up, innovating and adapting on the front lines. Supporting their efforts is the most important thing we can do. This is a fight we can and must win for the Delta and our shared planet.